Hello and welcome to Crowforest, the podcast. So today we are picking up at June 12 of 2023. This is page 236 of 254. So hopefully we'll be able to finish up today, but we'll just see how far we get. We may need one more episode past this, but let's just see how far we get in this. June 12, 2023. So Maureen and I still haven't watched through the full rough cut. We've been really busy and too tired to face it. But I did at least show Maureen my latest cut of just the dream sequence. Watching through it, I realized that it still needed to be trimmed down a bit, and Maureen agreed. But Maureen also had a really good idea for something to add. There's a part of the sequence where I fall down and have to pick myself back up. Not scripted, I just fell down. When I picked up my phone and tilted it back up to continue the shot, it's all blurry and has to refocus. Maureen said that that would be a great place to put a shot of the wax figure right there in my, or rather her, face. I don't know if I can do that, but if I can pull it off, that would be a really great shot. So I opened up Final Cut Pro and started editing the sequence. I trimmed it down a bit since it was going on a bit too long. Then I imported a clip of the wax figure standing in front of my green screen on top of the bit where I fell. I edited the clip using keyframes to move the wax figure up and down the screen to match the background motion. It's not a perfect match, but it's pretty close, and considering that it's a ghost in a dream, I figure it doesn't really have to be perfectly lined up. One other thing that I ended up adding into this sequence was a drone shot of Maureen's neighborhood that I had originally filmed for Crowforest 2. I put it over the end of the forest segment and the beginning of the storm segment, and used keyframes to fluctuate the opacity level of the clip. I wanted to use drone footage somewhere in the movie because it adds value to the production, and it looks pretty cool the way I have it. Alright, and June 13 of 2023. I finished up editing the dream sequence today, and then I sent it off to Adam Mullen for scoring. I decided that I should probably use music loops and repeated tracks for the rest of the movie, on account of being out of money, so I asked him to write a loop in addition to the music for the dream sequence. This will bring the total music that he wrote for the movie to just about 30 minutes, and considering that the movie is only going to be about an hour long, I'm sure that I can make that work. Then, once I got that sent off, I drove into downtown Bryan and parked in the free lot on the far side and started walking up and down the streets. I went into all of the shops and restaurants and asked if I could hang up my flyer for my upcoming movie premiere. Most of the shop owners were open to it and let me either hang a flyer or leave a flyer for them to hang. I'm sure it helped that the premiere was scheduled for the Queen Theater, which was right there on the same block as most of the businesses, and one block over from the rest. And yes, I know I said that I was going to do this weeks ago. I've been procrastinating. Shut up. July 5, 2023. So I've been working for the past couple of weeks on finishing up all of the last-minute details of the movie. Putting in the last of the music, trimming frames here and there. It's all way too boring to really talk about, but I thought I should at least briefly mention it for the sake of completeness. So I finished up the fine-tuning and uploaded it to Vimeo. Then I sent the file to Adam Mullen for him to look over and see if it needed any additional music. So I'll just wait for him to get back to me on that. Also, registration for the AFM opens today, so I set up an account and started the registration process. But when I got to the page asking what package I wanted, I saw that all the options were really expensive. So I did a little research to see if it would still be worth it at the higher price, and I came across an article which made the case that the AFM isn't really the right place for independent filmmakers. So that's disappointing. But at least I'm finding out now and not after I'm spending a lot of money that I don't really have. I'll see if I can find that article again and link it in the description of this video. I can't really link it in the book because that's not how books work, or anything, but I'll try to find it and link it in the description of this the video version of this podcast episode on YouTube, so you'll be able to read that. July 6, 2023. Adam Mullen got back to me today, and he just had a few recommendations for the movie. One spot needed a fade-out added, and in another spot I had apparently accidentally used an earlier version of one of the music tracks. Okay, I don't actually remember, but I suspect that that's a music fade-out since he's the music guy, but I don't remember. Oh, yeah, that's fun. Great. One spot needed a fade-out added, and in another spot I had apparently accidentally used an earlier version of one of the music tracks, so I needed to fix that. Other than that, though, he thought that it was all good and didn't need any additional music. So we'll go ahead and settle up for the $1,500 that we agreed on for the music. At least once I can figure out how to use Venmo. God, I'm bad at this. July 7, 2023. I finally figured out how to use Venmo. It involved verifying my bank account by entering the amounts of 2 small transactions that Venmo deposited and then withdrew from my bank account, which seems super sketchy, but whatever. At least it works now. Though I did have to ask Adam Mullen if he would accept payments of $500 for the next 3 months, because I am very out of money at this point. July 27, 2023. I've been procrastinating going over the whole movie and doing the final editing, because it just seemed like it was going to be a whole thing, which, spoiler alert, it very much was. I got most of the way through the movie without changing much, just trimming a few frames here and there, and adding in a music loop at one point. But when I got to the ghost phone call scene, I realized that it was a little flat, really only existing to set up the creepy voicemail later, since Maureen misses the call. But it really didn't have anything to make it work as a scene on its own terms. It occurred to me that the way to make this scene really stand out would be to add in a reflection of the wax figure onto the phone screen, and so I did that. I searched through my files and found an image of the wax mask reflected in the shiny surface. A screen that was cut... Oh, for fuck's sake. A scene that was cut. From a scene that was cut due to not working. And I dragged it on top of the phone screen using the distort controls to size and shape it to the screen. Then I started adding keyframes, zooming way in and putting a new keyframe on about every other frame so that I could alter the distortion to continue to match the screen and make it change with the movement of the screen. And of course, it took an ass-long time. This is why people usually hire someone else to do this stuff for them. But of course, as I've already mentioned, I'm out of money. When I finally finished up the editing, I went to export the file, and it wouldn't export. It kept starting the process and then crashing my computer, which just kept automatically rebooting. I tried several times, but it became pretty clear that this was just not going to work. So I copied the metadata from the phone reflection scene and just edited it into a new project and exported just that 30 seconds into its own file. And thankfully that worked. So now I guess I'm going to have to finish up editing this thing on iMovie. That's just embarrassing. July 28, 2023. So I finished up the editing on iMovie today, redoing the minor edits that I did yesterday, and I spliced the new phone reflection scene into the movie in place of the previous version. Or at least I hope I remembered to delete the previous version. If the scene plays twice in a row with barely different versions, sorry, I tried. Also, I ended up having to go back into Final Cut Pro to export the dance studio scene, because I forgot that I had tightened it up a bit in a way that wasn't really possible to do working off of the rough cut like I was. So I copied that metadata into a new project and exported it just as I had done for the phone reflection clip. And then I spliced it in the same way. Then, finally, I exported the movie, this time without any issues, since iMovie is a more basic program and doesn't take as much RAM. So now I at least have a playable version of the movie, but wow, I have completely worn out this computer on this movie. I mean, I am still running a 2015 Model Mac, so it has lasted a good while, but still, I'm definitely going to need a new one before I can make another movie. Maybe I can do a Kickstarter or something. Hopefully someone reading this book thinks that I'm worth that. And I actually do have a Kickstarter going right now. If you enjoyed my first movie and have been enjoying hearing about the process and want to see what I can do going forward, there is a Kickstarter going on right now. Really, I just need money for a computer to edit the thing. So, if that is something that interests you, I would very much appreciate it. But, by the time this book comes out in book form, that'll be over. Or maybe I'll have to run it again, but either way. Once I had the final version of the movie, I uploaded it to my Vimeo account as an unlisted video, so it could only be viewed with a link. I haven't quite figured out how to do the digital release of this movie, but I guess there's plenty of time to figure that out later. Plus, I guess I kind of thought that someone else would be figuring that out for me. That AFM thing really put a hole in my plans. Okay, I am going to go ahead and cut it off there. So next time, we will finish the book completely. The next section is In the Attic Premiere. That is, the premiere itself is August 27, but there is a little section on August 24 when I did the screening test. So, In the Attic Premiere, and we will read that next time, and that is the end of the book. So, come back for that, and you can hear all about how the actual premiere went. As far as the release of the movie, I have since figured that out, and I just put it on YouTube. So, it is available for free on YouTube, which, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you probably already know that. But, yes, it is available for free on YouTube, so you can go watch that, and I'm not taking any money for that. So, I mean, if you want to give me money, you certainly can. But, I'm not charging for it. Okay, so I guess that is all for this time, and so join me back here next time for the premiere. Hope to see you then. And just edited it in and just edited it